Hey folks, I'm Tony Ramirez from NowSecure, and this is a Android 11 security and privacy update review. For those of you who are developers or security analysts who are interested in the changes that are going to come with Android 11, this is a great review of some of the things to be aware of. Again, you have a ton of time to kind of get on board with a lot of these changes. Maybe you've already updated your app to adopt the Android 10 changes and they're already targeting SDK 29, but that means you have about 13, 14 months, depending on when you're watching this, to get those Android SDK 30 API target challenges in place. So these are good things to be aware of. They're good things to make accommodations for as you're changing your app over the next year, because eventually you're going to have to accommodate for a lot of these behavioral changes, or just be aware of the new APIs. As I said, I'm Tony Ramirez from NowSecure. NowSecure is a mobile application security testing company. We work with a lot of great organizations and we help them protect their apps and just help them figure out how to handle a lot of the challenges in mobile application security. So if you're interested, reach out to us and we can give you some information. So as I said before, we're going to be covering a lot of topics, things about permissions, some of the cool stuff that's in Android, and a lot of the behavior changes, because a lot of these behavior changes are pretty cool. In general, Android 11 added a lot of privacy enhancements and little things that are going to help people who are already building apps and are well aware of the challenges that are on Android to kind of make their apps better. Starting off, every version of Android has a bunch of cool things in it, things that aren't really directly obvious in terms of security. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're things that might have a really big impact down the line. Starting off with one that you may already be familiar with, Project Mainline. If you're familiar with Project Trouble, you may already be familiar with Project Mainline, but they're essentially the same thing. The goal was to take the OEM updating process, where maybe you have an old device from some manufacturer, and it's not a Google manufacturer, it's one of the other maybe three-letter brands or other brands, whoever, and you wouldn't get an update. You were stuck on Android 6 for 2 years, and finally you get an update and it's 6.1, and you're wondering to yourself, man, am I ever going to get on 7? And now we're on Android 10 going on 11 right now, and you're thinking to yourself, those OEMs are really controlling the update process. Well, the goal with Mainline is to shift a lot of the security updates onto Google Play. So for those of you who maybe are familiar with something like stage fright that happened a couple years ago, that was a big issue for a lot of devices because those updates could only come through the OEMs. Now a lot of that updating process has been shifted over to Google Play, so those updates happen through Google Play, which means a quicker response time, and that response time actually comes through Google and Android on the operating system side instead of through the OEM side, which is great. It means better devices, means better security on devices, and maybe it means even these devices can last a little bit longer in terms of security policy and just keeping a device for security reasons. Building on top of that, Identity Credential API, which is pretty interesting because it's kind of a topic that people have talked about for a long time, the idea of your device becoming also your ID. And for a lot of developers, they're kind of following that without realizing it, but now it's being taken to another level where you have something like a driver's license or some other license that's a government issued, federally issued license, and that can exist on your device. A lot of the hardware changes and other things have kind of created a roadmap for this on both platforms, and Android's just the first one to kind of start having that conversation with government agencies and kind of developing the framework for what will eventually be an API to do all that. Now, this is all still very new. It's still being built out, but that's something you might see over the next year, maybe in 2021 or even before the end of this year. And next, probably the coolest thing that was added in Android 11 is this data access auditing API. It's kind of a mouthful, but basically what it's doing is it's giving developers a way to audit the application behaviors that go along with accessing data off the device, whether that be in private app storage or public app storage, and just see what components of their app they're doing that. Very much driven by the developer to do that. Very new, and again, pretty exciting because it's really taking a lot of these issues that are really kind of privacy focused, and especially with third-party APIs being built into apps or third-party SDKs being added into applications. Maybe those are accessing private storage during app runtime. And the best way to actually see that is having some way to audit that, and giving developers a way to do that using a programmatic way is maybe helpful for them, and it's different than the way a security analyst would normally test it, where they're accessing those data storage locations and seeing what was written to. So again, this is enhancing security and privacy in a really great way. Still very new, but we'll see how that changes Android in the coming year, and let's see how that changes maybe that OWASP top 10 list and see how that gets affected over time.